Where are you gonna go to school? Kansas? Baylor? Oklahoma State? Oklahoma? North Carolina? Alabama? Maybe Arizona?
I'm gonna go play Down Under. I made it to the Outback. I'm gonna play basketball. Down Under.
Dad, you're not down under. You're still in the den.
Oh. Oh well, I'm still gonna get drafted. Hey everyone, welcome to another edition of What I Know About the Oklahoma City Thunder, and you do not. I am your host, Tyler, aka Sir Knows-A-Lot, and we are up to episode 6, and we are broadcasting all around the world, clear from my den in Oklahoma to the outback of Australia. And as you saw in the teaser, and you may have gleaned, Australia had a very important part or role to play in the life of our Thunder Profile Player of the Week. And we will get to him in just a few minutes. But first, the news from this week. The week was kind of slow. Not a lot happened. Westbrook didn't sign his extension. Carmelo Anthony was not traded to the Thunder. But there's a couple of items of interest that I'm going to talk about. The first one I'll talk about now, and then one that's a little more speculative, some speculation about one of the best players in the world and the Thunder that I'll save for the end. But for now, this week, the Thunder signed Daniel Hamilton to the team's first ever two-way contract. Now, I know you might be sitting there thinking, what the heck is a two-way contract? Well, I'm here to tell you. In the NBA teams, each team is allowed 15 players on their roster. Now, 13 of those are active for any particular game. So before each game, the coach submits the list of 13 active players in uniform. And the other 2 are the guys you see at the end of the bench wearing suits. Okay, so now, each team, or not every team, but there's also something called it was called the D-League. Now it's called the G-League because Gatorade sponsors it. But what the D-League/G-League is, I'm going to call it D-League because it sounds better to me. What the D-League is the NBA's minor league system. Now, not every team has their own D-League team. Like in Major League Baseball, every team has a series of minor league teams beneath them. Not everyone in the NBA does yet. I think 26 out of the 30 teams do so far. And their goal is to get, where every team has their own. And how it's worked prior to this season is that, well, it still partially works this way, but any player that is on a D-League contract, they're eligible to get called up by any other NBA team. So there could be a guy for the Blue, which is owned by the Thunder, who starts playing really good. His contract is with the Blue, and the Timberwolves could decide, ooh, we really like him, we'd like him on our team. They could contact him, negotiate, sign him to an NBA contract. Thunder, I really couldn't do anything about it that I know of, and so their player would just be gone. The player that they drafted and developed, is gone. But now they can sign a player to a two-way contract, which means most of the season they spend with the Blue, but they're under contract with the Thunder, so they can spend up to 45 days with the NBA team playing in the NBA. Now they can't go beyond 45, but they can spend up to 45 days with the NBA team. And the rest of the time would be spent with the D-League affiliate. Now, what does this do? Well, it helps teams control their players, helps control their development. Like I said before, if you didn't have room, if your 15-man roster was maxed out, but you had a guy you really liked for your D-League team, you just had to hope no one swooped in and took him. Now, each team has 2 slots for two-way contracts that they can sign to those players that maybe aren't quite ready to be on the full NBA roster, but that the team wants to keep developing and controlling because maybe one day they will be there. And in this case, it's Daniel Hamilton. So he played for the Blue. He was drafted in 2016. He played for the Blue last year. He'll play for the Blue most of this season, but he may get called up a few times. If there's some injuries, he may get called up. If they need, he's a guard, so if one like Felton, Christian gets hurt, they need an extra backup guard, and they don't want to activate, Singler or Hustis or someone, they can call him up. So it's also about depth. So that is two-way contracts in a nutshell. If that still doesn't make sense, post a question below. I'll do some more research and try to answer it for you. So that happened this week, and like I said, there's one other little tidbit, a little bit juicier that we'll talk about at the end. But now we come to our Thunder Profile Player of the Week, and that player is Terrance Ferguson. And as you may know, he was drafted by the Thunder this year in the first round with their 21st pick. But he has a little bit different of a backstory than most other players, especially American-born players. He was born in Tulsa, Oklahoma, but at an early age, his family moved to Dallas, and that's where he was raised. That's where he went to high school. He became a McDonald's All-American as a senior, 17 points per game, 3 boards, 2 assists. One of those really good players that all the colleges were after. And all those colleges mentioned in the opener were all interested in him, including more than what was named. There was Louisville as well, and I can't remember all the rest, but a few more. A lot of them were interested. And there's a rule in the NBA that you have to be 1 year out of high school before you're eligible for the draft. Okay, so that's why you see so many players, especially really good, hyped players, they'll go to Duke or North Carolina or Kentucky, and they'll play 1 season and then join the draft. So that's why you see those one-and-done players throughout college and the league. Well, Ferguson, he committed to Alabama, changed his mind, and then ended up committing to Arizona, and eventually decided, he didn't want to go to college, or whatever the reason was, he decided to go play overseas professionally in Australia for a team called the Adelaide 36ers. Now, the question may be, why would someone choose to do this? Why not go enjoy college for a year and then go pro? Well, there's a few reasons. One, you go pro overseas, no classes. You don't have to worry about doing tests and doing all those things to remain eligible. That's out the door. Another reason is you get to start to get used to the professional life. So now, even as an 18-year-old, he's in Australia, he's getting paid to play basketball. He has to learn kind of on the fly how to manage his money, how to deal with being a professional on a daily basis. So that kind of would help him get prepared for the NBA, where a guy right out of college wouldn't have that experience. Because, college players don't get paid, officially. Another reason is it would help him basketball-wise, because he would be playing against grown men. Now, even the top-tier college players on the top-tier programs like Duke, North Carolina, Kentucky, as I mentioned before, still, most of the teams they play are going to be filled with players that will not sniff the NBA. That's not even in their plans, because they know they're not going to make it. And not only do they not quite have that level of talent, but they don't have that level of size. So you are a top-flight prospect playing for Duke. Your first 15 games are against non-conference, Coastal Carolina, all the smaller schools, playing a bunch of guys that, are 5'10", 6'1", not nearly as strong. They're all kids. So that's great, but as you know, when you're playing a sport, when you play against the biggest and the strongest and the best, you're going to get better yourself. So that's one of the advantages of playing in a professional league overseas, whether it's Australia or China or Europe. You get to play against grown men. So that could toughen him up and make him stronger and help him improve his game in a more NBA setting. Because over there in the Australian League, they have a 24-second shot clock like the NBA, as opposed to the 35-second shot clock in college. So that's what he did. He went and played overseas for a year in Australia. He did pretty good. He had about 18 minutes per game. He shot 45% from the field with 39% from 3, which is pretty good. And that's, that's his skill set. You ask what kind of player is he? He's a spot-up shooter, okay? He's a guy that will, go to a spot, whether it's the corner, like Roberson would do, or Oladipo would do, or other, McDermott or Aprinas. He'll go to that spot and then just rely on Westbrook, or this year Paul George, to suck in the defense to leave him open for a kick out, and then he can shoot. And 39% three, that's something the Thunder needs. But beyond that, he's not very explosive athletically because he doesn't have a good handle right now. That's something he'll need to work on. His defense is, not very good, which most young players are not going to be very good early. So he has a lot of things to work on. He's a project for the Thunder. He is someone, in more of their long-term plans instead of the upcoming season. But as we project him into this season, what can we expect? Well, kind of like when I talked about Dakari Johnson, you're not going to see him play a lot. It won't be like Sabonis last year, who started and played every game. It won't be like that because they got Patterson now, they got Paul George. So Ferguson will spend a lot of time with the Blue, a lot of time in a suit on the bench, but he'll get some playing time. They'll throw him out there some, but I wouldn't expect more than 10 or 15 games of him appearing in, and for those it'll be mop-up duty or only a few minutes here and there. But the advantage of having him with the Thunder and an NBA contract is that he can consistently practice with the Thunder. So guess who will get to guard every day in practice? Paul George, which is great on-the-job training. So if Paul George leaves next season, Ferguson may be able to slide into that role. He won't be near the player yet, but at least he'll have increased experience, both professionally in Australia and then practicing every day with the Thunder. So that is Terrance Ferguson. I hope you guys learned a little bit more about him. It's a little bit different of a story, spending a year in Australia, which also the experience of being that young in a different country, that's going to mature you more. So the Thunder are hoping that he'll be more of a mature player than some of the other college players coming right out of, college after just 1 year. So that is our Thunder Profile Player of the Week, Terrance Ferguson. If you have any other questions about him or his potential role or predictions for his role, not only this season, but in the years to come, I'd love to see him in the comments below. So that's our Thunder Profile Player of the Week. Next week, we will talk about a player that was in kind of a similar situation, Josh Huestis. He didn't play overseas, but he spent a lot of time with the Blue. He's kind of been a guy on the back end of the bench, which Ferguson will be this year. And I'll talk about Huestis next week, so tune in for that. Now, the last bit of information is, it's not really a rumor, but it's more speculation. As you guys may be aware, LeBron James is going to be a free agent next summer. Now, and most people believe that because of all the turmoil in Cleveland that has happened this offseason, they fired their GM, Kyrie Irving wants a trade, just a bunch of chaos going there, most people believe that he will opt to leave the Cavs next summer. And the speculation among all the writers that he'll probably end up going to LA, play with the Lakers, or San Antonio, join up with Kawhi Leonard. Maybe pull another guy in with him to challenge the Warriors. Now, there was an interview with Lee Jenkins, sports writer for the Sports Illustrated. Very good sports writer. He did a great there was an interview with Lee Jenkins, sports writer for Sports Illustrated. He's a great writer. He did a great piece on Russell Westbrook and his thought process last season and everything. He's just a great writer. And they were interviewing him and talking about what LeBron would do next year. And he dropped that, there could be San Antonio, could be LA, and that he dropped the possibility of LeBron James coming to Oklahoma City. Now, this wasn't an inside scoop, him saying he's talked to LeBron's people and LeBron really wants to come here or anything like that. It was just a seasoned sports writer's thoughts and speculation. And I just want to spend just a couple minutes. The thought of LeBron James coming here is I'm not sure what to think about it. Because I've never liked him. Not that I don't like him, but he's like the Yankees. No one likes the Yankees unless you're a Yankees fan. No one likes the Patriots unless you're just always been a Patriots fan. You've seen LeBron James go to all the finals, win several championships, and you just don't like that guy. But if he came here, suddenly him and Westbrook, maybe even Paul George too, now there's a team that could take out the Warriors. Now, will that happen? I highly, highly doubt it. But it's, it's an interesting thing to think about and dream about, that he could possibly he could possibly come here. Then I would like him. So we'll see. But it's one of those things, kind of like Carmelo Anthony being traded here. I wouldn't be waiting for it and just hopeful for it and be devastated when it doesn't happen. So but it's something to fill the time during the off season. So that's all the time I have for today. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I hope you guys learned a little bit about two-way contracts, about Terrance Ferguson. Tell me what you guys think. What do you guys think of two-way contracts? Is it something good for the league? Is it something good for the Thunder? Will Daniel Hamilton be an asset for them? What do you think about Terrance Ferguson? What's his career going to be like? And LeBron, Oklahoma City, would you accept that? Would you say, nah, we don't need him? Or what? Let me know, please, in the comments below. Also, if you like this, hit the like button, subscribe. There's a bell next to the subscribe button that allows you to get notifications to when new videos drop. Episode 7 will come next Saturday, as always. But if Thunder News breaks, if Westbrook finally signs that extension, there may be a video dropping early, and I don't want you guys to miss it. So thank you guys for watching. Have a great weekend. Have a great week next week, and I'll see you next Saturday for yet another edition of what I know about the Oklahoma City Thunder, but you do not. Thank you guys, and as always,